Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. It's time for the royal news. So let's see what's been going on around the week of July the 1st, 2025. The first story is from the BBC. Royal train to be cut in palace cost-saving measure. And this story is by Sean Colin, royal correspondent. The royal train is going to be taken out of service by 2027 in a cost-saving measure announced by Buckingham Palace. There have been dedicated trains for monarchs since Queen Victoria's reign, but as part of a drive to ensure we deliver value for the money, it's been decided to decommission the historic rolling stock. The announcement came alongside the annual publication of Royal Finances, which showed that a journey on a royal train from Gloucester to Staffordshire and then to London over 2 days in February had cost more than £44,000. The royal family will still travel on regular train services, and the annual report showed 141 helicopter trips were taken last year, costing £475,000. James Chalmers, the keeper of the Privy Purse, responsible for the royal finances, said the decision to stop the royal train would mean the fondest of farewells, but in moving forwards, we must not be bound by the past. The royal train will be taken around the UK before it is removed from service, after which it could be put on public display. The royal train consists of 9 carriages with different locomotives hired to pull them. The idea of a royal train goes back to Queen Victoria commissioning special coaches in 1869, with the service being used to take the royal family around the country. The royal train, of course, has been part of the national life for many decades, loved and cared for by all those involved, said Mr. Chalmers. The train has been used extensively for events during the late Queen Elizabeth's Golden and Diamond Jubilees, with the most recent update to the carriages taking place in the mid-1980s. But the latest accounts for the 2024-25 show the train only being used on 2 occasions, raising questions about maintenance and storage costs. That's alongside other travel costs, such as 55 private charter flights costing almost £600,000 and scheduled flights £126,000. The total cost of royal travel is £4.7 million, a rise of £500,000 from the previous year. The single biggest travel item was the £400,000 for the King and Queen's trip to Australia and Samoa. The latest financial report for 2024-2025 shows the sovereign grant remaining at £86.3 million. This grant is the public funding for running costs of the monarchy, such as travel for official duties, staffing, and the maintenance of royal buildings. The level of funding for the 2025-26 is rising to £132 million, with this higher level of funding staying for 2 years to complete renovation work at Buckingham Palace. The cost for this 10-year, £369 million building scheme at Buckingham Palace has pushed up the sovereign grant, which in real terms, taking into account inflation, is now about 3 times higher than when the sovereign grant funding was introduced in 2012. Funding comes from the Treasury, with the amount based on the percentage of the profits of the Crown estate. This year's annual report shows the royal family carried out over 1,900 engagements, with almost 94,000 guests attending events at royal residences. There were also diplomatic occasions, such as hosting Qatar's state visit to the UK. A financial report of the Duchy of Cornwall, the estates which provide an income for the Prince of Wales, shows a profit of £22.9 million, slightly down on the previous year. There have been media criticisms of the Duchy's finances, and in response, Kensington Palace has said that the emphasis will be on positive social impact. Will Bax, the Duchy's new secretary, said there would be a modern, socially minded approach, which could see some charitable organizations and community groups having their rents waived and others with 50% reductions. This would cost significant sums, said Mr. Bax, but it's part of the focus on turning the Duchy into a social enterprise, supporting communities and reflecting Prince William's interest in projects such as reducing homelessness and tackling climate change. Anti-monarchy campaigners Republic criticized the level of royal income at a time when there were debates about cutting welfare for people with disabilities. Republic's chief executive Graham Smith described royal funding as a scandalous abuse of public money, with published figures not including costs such as security. The second story comes from the BBC, and it's dated July the 1st. King Charles launches Holyrood Week events in Edinburgh. King Charles and Queen Camilla have arrived in Edinburgh for a series of events to mark Holyrood Week, the annual royal celebration of Scottish culture, community, and achievements. The King's first engagement was the traditional ceremony of the keys in the gardens of the Palace of Holyrood House, his official residence in the Scottish capital. It took place shortly after the couple arrived by helicopter. The monarch traditionally spends a week each July in Edinburgh, but last year the program was shortened by the general election. The King was presented with the keys by Lord Provost of Edinburgh, Robert Aldridge, who held them out on a red cushion, which the monarch symbolically touched. He will later hold an investiture ceremony and garden party at the palace at the foot of the Royal Mile, alongside Queen Camilla. Those receiving honors will include Scotland's most decorated Olympian, Duncan Scott, OBE, double Paralympic swimming champion Stephen Clegg, MBE, and artist Barbara Ray, damehood. Before the ceremony, the palace gardens were transformed into a parade ground, and the King met senior military and uniformed figures. He then received a royal salute before inspecting a guard of honor of soldiers from the Royal Company of Archers, who serve as the King's ceremonial bodyguard in Scotland. Also lined up was the Palace Guard, made up of soldiers from Balaclava Company 5 Scots and the High Constables of the Palace of Holyrood House. Duncan Scott, who won his 8th Olympic medal at the Paris Games last year, said receiving an OBE for services to swimming was a special moment. Recently, the 28-year-old gave evidence in Parliament calling to the MSPs to recognize the value of swimming pools and provide financial relief to keep them open. He is also an ambassador for Scottish Swimming Learn to Swim program. You don't do sports for the recognition, you do it for things that you want to achieve, either individually or as part of a team, he said. But there is that added element that it's really humbling and really nice to be recognized for the hard work that you put in. Paralympian Stephen Clegg, who won 2 gold medals for the 2024 Paralympic Games in Paris, describes being made an MBE as a huge honor. The swimmer, who has visual impairment and swims in S12 category, said the recognition puts a spotlight on not just the sport as a whole, but sport for the disabled community. He said as a child he struggled with all the barriers and limitations people had placed on him, that swimming had allowed him to prove them wrong. Falkirk-born artist Dame Barbara Ray said her damehood for services to art was really quite a rare accolade. The painter and printmaker studied at Edinburgh College of Art and went on to teach art in secondary schools, then lecture at Aberdeen College of Education and Glasgow School of Art. The 81-year-old's work has been exhibited around the world, including at venues in New York and Hong Kong. She said she hopes her damehood will inspire up-and-coming artists. Retired solicitor Kevin Hay was also made an MBE after spending 17 years translating the Bible into Doric, the first time the whole text has ever changed into any variant of the Scots language. The Old Testament was published last year, while the New Testament was released in 2012, compromising more than 800,000 words between them. He said he was absolutely delighted to have been recognized for his work. When I was at school, you got belted if you spoke Scots of any kind, even one Scots word, and you could get the belt, he said. And here's now a recognition for doing something in that very language. So it's great. Queen Camilla officially opened Raytho Library in Newbridge near Edinburgh Airport, alongside Scottish criminal author Sir Ian Rankin. She was greeted by librarians, local school children, young writers and poets, and figures from the Edinburgh's annual literary festival. It's marked the launch of a 5-year initiative by the Edinburgh International Book Festival and Edinburgh City Libraries to promote literature in local communities. The third story is from June the 30th. Sarah Ferguson makes her first Wimbledon appearance in more than 20 years as she joins Princess Beatrice in the Royal Box. And this story is by Gina Kelsey. Princess Beatrice appeared to be in high spirits as she joined her mother, Sarah Ferguson, on the first day of Wimbledon on Monday. The mother-daughter duo were seen beaming as they arrived to take their seats in the Royal Box at the renowned tennis competition in southwest London. It marks the Duchess of York's first appearance at the tournament in more than 20 years, as she would often regularly attend matches with Princess Diana in the 1980s and 1990s. The pair couldn't stop beaming as they greeted Hannah Bagshaw and Eddie Redmayne, who were also seated inside the Royal Box. Princess Beatrice, 36, looked effortlessly chic as she stepped out in a 445-pound blue and white striped shirt and skirt embroidered with large white flowers from Sandro Paris. She accessorized her look with a gray crocodile print clutch bag and wore her signature wavy auburn tresses down and a bouncy blow-dry. Sarah, affectionately known as Fergie by royal fans, had all eyes on her as she opted to wear a bright green paisley print dress, complete with an emerald Van Cleef and Arpels motif bracelet, similar to one seen on Queen Camilla's wrist on royal outings. Prince Andrew's ex-wife styled her bold and vibrant look with a simple brown box bag and simple diamond hoop earrings. She wore her fiery locks down in a half-up, half-down hairstyle and chose to wear natural makeup with a hint of eyeliner and mascara. As ever, the pair were seen watching the match unfold between Carlos Alcaraz and Fabio Fognini through their stylish sunglasses. Also seated in the prestigious section, which is thought to be the best viewpoint of the center court, was Lady Gabriella Kingston. She was pictured laughing with philanthropist and former entrepreneur Robert Jennings, who is on the board of trustees at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She put on her best fashion foot forward in a white-collared frock printed with delicate lilac flowers as she discussed the match with Robert, while also wearing a portable fan in front of her face to keep her cool in the 33-degree heat. This outing comes weeks after Fergie spoke candidly about her decision to seek sanctuary at the Recovery Center in Switzerland, a high-end clinic known for offering bespoke, cutting-edge treatment for people grappling with mental health and addiction challenges. I've always known there were issues I needed to address stemming from my childhood and my time in the public eye, she said, writing for The Telegraph. Then I was diagnosed with cancer twice in the same year, something that would be challenging for anyone in terms of mental as well as physical health. During her time at the clinic, she said she engaged in deep conversations about post-traumatic stress disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, delving into the long-term mental health impact of her earlier experiences and public scrutiny. She opened up about the profound scars left by her childhood, which contributed to feelings of low self-esteem and disordered eating. The Duchess said she struggled with a negative relationship with food, shaped in part by harsh treatment and cruel labels she endured in the press. Fergie was infamously mocked in the 19 branded as Fat Fergie and the Duchess of Pork during her first pregnancy when she gained weight. She also reflected on the toll of the more recent online abuse, calling social media a cesspit of negativity. And Fergie maintains a cherished connection with her daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, with the trio referring to themselves as the tripod. And our last story comes from the Great Britain's news channel, dated June 30th, 2025. Princess Kate and Prince William receive a new power from King Charles. This story is by Marcus Donaldson. King Charles has appointed Prince William and Princess Kate as grantees of royal warrants, marking a significant expansion of their royal duties. The new arrangement allows the Prince and Princess of Wales to grant warrants to companies that supply goods or services to their household. Existing Prince of Wales royal warrant holders have been given until the end of July to apply to retain their status. Companies seeking new warrants from the Wales couple will be able to submit applications in the first half of 2026. Their Royal Highnesses are delighted to be able to recognize and celebrate British industry, creativity, and skills through the granting of warrants, Sir Ian Patrick, Private Secretary to the Prince of Wales, said. The centuries-old tradition gives selected brands the official royal seal of approval and serves as a prestigious endorsement. To obtain a royal warrant, a company must have supplied the royal household for 5 of the last 7 years. They must also demonstrate high standards in quality, service, and sustainability. At present, there are around 800 warrant holders, ranging from artisan food producers and tailors to global tech firms. Individual service providers can also receive warrants, with the Queen having included her hairdresser, Joe Hansford, in a recent round of awards. Being able to grant a royal warrant is not a given for anyone in the royal family. It is conferred by the monarch and only to senior working royals. Charles became a grantor in 1980 as Prince of Wales, but the late Princess Diana never held the role despite marrying him the following year. King Charles's honor to Prince William and Princess Kate comes as the royal household released its annual financial statement for 2024-2025. The Royal Household Sovereign Grant Report reveals that the funding for the monarchy remained at £86.3 million at the fourth consecutive year. In total, the grant compromises £51.8 million for core operations and £34.5 million allocated to the Buckingham Palace resurfacing program. The report covers April 2024 to March 2025, a period that saw both the King and Princess of Wales make phased returns to public duties following cancer treatment. Despite these health challenges, the royal family maintained an active schedule throughout the King's second full year on the throne. The second year of Charles III's reign included several significant milestones, with the King attending his first Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting as head of the Commonwealth. Royal engagements remain robust, with family members undertaking more than 1,900 public appearances domestically and internationally. The report also revealed the staggering cost of King Charles's and Queen Camilla's tour of Australia and Samoa. Also announced was the decommissioning of the royal train for the sake of the more sustainable travel options, as mentioned earlier. So I will end the video here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so, it would help the channel to grow, as well as giving it a thumbs up. It's all a great help. And if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, if you could do that, it lets you know when a video is posted. And I want to wish everyone a good day, and tune in again soon for Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life, the Royal News. Thank you. Bye.